Opposite hitter number 4, Jakapop Sengsi. Middle blocker number 5, Kitsata Nilsawai. Middle blocker number 12, Anochik Pakdikeo. Outside hitter number 14, Kitsata Songkane. Outside hitter number 16, Kantapat Kunmi. Setter and their team captain number 17, Saranchit Charoensuk. Their libero number 3, Jakapong Tongklang. Head coach for Thailand is Monchai Supajirapul. Let us now make some noise for the starters for the Philippines. Outside hitter number 1, Brian Bagunas. Setter number 3, Joshua Retamar. Middle blocker number 6, Kim Malabunga. Opposite hitter number 11, Ranran Abdilia. Middle blocker number 12, Francis Saura. Outside hitter number 15, Mark Espejo. And their libero number 16, Ricky Marcos. Head coach for the Philippines is Dante Alinsunurin.
And there you have it, our starters for Thailand and Philippines respectively. Now before we medyo nabitin tayo kanina, Michelle, with the talking about that game between Indonesia and Philippines. And while it was a heartbreaking loss, let's talk about how Brian Bagunas and Mark Espejo just shown for the Philippines, garnering 24 and 17 respectively.
We all know these two players, having had the experience abroad, playing for another country outside of the Philippines, really gives you so much potential and experience and maturity. And that's what they're bringing now in the games here at the 2019 SEA Games, is that really they're your go-to guys. They can handle the pressure, they can handle any types of sets, and that's why they're producing so much numbers for our Philippine team.
And I think what surprised is when you look at the stat sheet, Francis Saura with 4 excellent digs. Francis Saura, usually you'd see someone from the libero position like sila Ricky Marcos, but then there you have Francis stepping up when it came to the defense of the team.
And it's unusual because being a middle blocker, you won't usually see that kind of defense from them. But it has to be a team effort, and whoever can step up and can contribute in any way possible, we have to see that now, most importantly, in today's game versus Thailand.
And as you mentioned, people who should step up for Team Philippines, there you have it. Josh Retamar, the standout right now for the men's volleyball. But first blood, Thailand will get that point here at set 1.
No doubt, Denise, you will see Charoensuk going to Quesada all throughout this game. He has been their most consistent hitter, garnering 14 points in that last game versus Myanmar. And being a middle spiker, he not only dominates in offense, but also in defense. They had 11 blocks and none for Myanmar in that game last time. And that's going to be a really tough defense, a really tough wall to break for the Philippine offense now.
But now, that's a good point. It's tied, Philippines and Thailand at 1, and you can see everyone at the Phil Sports Arena just cheering for Team Philippines right now, and the crowd will always be such an advantage for our Philippine athletes here in the SEA Games. Mark Espejo serving. And who are the matchups that we can look forward to in today's game, Michelle?
If we're looking at the matchups in the scoring department, of course, the Philippines, we have Mark Espejo, and we also have Brian Bagunas. And on the other side, Thailand will be led by Quisada in the middle position, and also right behind him will probably be Jack Rapop. But it can go any way. You also have Pak Di Kao in the middle position, also Kun Mi in another position for Thailand. So that's one of the aces of Thailand, Denise, that we have to watch out for, is that anybody can score in any position and really go double digits. So that's going to be tough for the blocking and the defense of the Philippines, and you want to see them check the balls now in today's game.
As we take a look back at the game right now, score is 3-2. Thailand with just 1 point ahead. So that's good. You know, Philippines not lagging far too behind.
We are going up against the #1 seed in both brackets in Group A and Group B.
And they're the 5-peat seeking champions right now for the SEA Games. Thailand, back-to-back points.
There you have it, the Great Wall of Thailand. That is the difference between the two middle blockers of Thailand. Pak Di Kao is really, you know him for his blocking, and Quisada, he produces the offense, the numbers, and that's why back row, front row, they both exchange and rotate from time to time, but it's still there. They still produce, and they still help and contribute to the team.
So again, there's a lot at stake today because the winner of Thailand versus Philippines will battle for the gold medal, and meanwhile, whoever will lose will battle for the bronze medal, rather. As we look at this replay, I think that was a cross-court hit by Brian Bagunas. Strong serve there from Thailand. Quick hit.
Smart
Kim
move
Malabunga.
there. Smart move there, Denise. You know, this is what you want to see from Retamar, really activating his middle spikers. Because in the previous games of the Philippines, he just really goes to and relies on his open hitters. And why not? Because they produce the numbers. But if you are going up against a really strong defensive team such as Thailand, you need to open up more plays, and you need to get more players involved to just minimize blocks, the blocking points of Thailand.
So anything that you can take it. As we go back again, it's just a 1-point lead from Thailand, and we're tied at 5-5. We're seeing a couple of errors early on in the game.
Back-to-back points for Kim Malabunga. First, very emphatic hit, and now a good solid block.
The setup. And you can see the effort of Ricky Marcos trying to get that ball, but that's a point for Thailand.
Such a spread out offense, Denise, from Thailand. You see that Charon Suk really goes to all of his spikers, and that's why if you look at the stat sheet, you will see all of their spikers scoring almost double digits in their games, because it really matters, the offense going out and away from their hitters such as Quisada, and so that the blockers of their opponents really don't know what play they're doing.
Ooh, great coverage there by Team Philippines. Again, Bagunas. But that is outside, too strong. 7-5 for Team Thailand.
That's a good problem to have, you know, you're just too strong. No block was there, too much angle on that one, but I agree with you, Denise, he's too strong. Brian Bagunas' power whenever he goes up to spike, you really see how he bends his body backward and just goes for that ball with a full swing.
And I think his time in Japan has really done a lot for his confidence and his, prowess as a volleyball player.
You see the difference, no, from his university days and now playing for the SEA Games. How much of a high level of play that they get from Japan playing. Also, it adds to them as a player.
But let's go first to our first technical timeout with Thailand leading 8-6. Not lagging too behind so far.
It's a good start for both teams. Thailand coming from a 3-set win, and the Philippines coming from a 3-set loss, but not showing it at the start of this game.
Kunmi serving. Retamar. And a quick hit. courtesy of Malabunga. Again, Kim Malabunga scoring for Team Philippines.
So among the 7 points of the Philippines in the first set, 3 points of that is going to Kim Malabunga. A great start for him. Great connection there from Retamar as well.
As you know, it was already expected. There were lots of articles saying that aside from Bagunas and Espejo, the players who were supposed to also add additional firepower to the squad are Kim Malabunga, Francis Saura, John Vic de Guzman, and of course, Joshua Tamar.
And now that John Vic de Guzman is not starting for Coach Dante, we want to see Abdilia really stepping up to the plate and filling in those shoes and scoring from the opposite side of the court so that you can really deviate the blockers from Mark Espejo. Not that he needs it, especially in that attempt, and from Brian Bagunas as well.
And now again, just a 1-point lead. Philippines keeping it close. 8 serving 9. The set and another quick hit. Coverage was there. Retamar will set it up. Ooh, a quick play there for number 14, Kitsada from Thailand.
Great decision there by Kitsada. Somkane to go up and get that ball. It was a broken play already, but only one blocker up there for the Philippines and not being able to stop that hit.
10 serving 8, and you're seeing the quick reflexes of the Thai team.
And it's really the decision making that you see
on the spot.
On the spot, and they really know what to do right away. And that's what really is a great asset if you're a volleyball player. Being so, your court IQ is just so high. You know what to do at the exact moment that you need it.
But you see, Philippines slowly catching up to that. I think this experience that they're having in the SEA Games is improving when it comes to, of course, our volleyball program here in the Philippines. Marcus Espejo now serving. 9-11, Thailand leading. Set up again. Combination play, but double block by number 11 and 12 from the Philippines, Ranran Abdilia and Francis Saura.
This is what you want to see from the Philippines. If I'm not mistaken, Denise, this is already their second block point, or maybe third. But this is what was lacking in that game versus Indonesia, was really our strong blocking. And going up against a team like Thailand, it's really great to see our players focusing on that department.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because just a while ago you mentioned how Raran Abdilia should step it up, and finally he is with their blocking. As Philippines gets back-to-back points of the error of number 4 from Thailand. That is Jack Rakprop, Sangsi. So now we're tied at 11-11. Mark Espejo still serving. And now, again, another point for Team Philippines as the crowd rejoices because for the first time in the first set, Philippines will be taking the lead.
From that service error to back-to-back hitting errors, now we have 3 points in the scoreboard for Team Philippines. Denise, something that we really have to take advantage of.
Ricky Marcos a while ago on your screens. I think that's the second service error from Marcus Espejo. And that stops the run of Team Philippines. Thailand now serving. Bagunas with a free ball. Ooh. Quick hit there by Quesada, and that was quite expected because a lot of the errors that were scored from Thailand, that was from him. So ito na yung pampabawi niya.
And of course, if you're a setter, Charon Sook wants to go. He is the #1 spiker for your team. You really have to build up his confidence and his rhythm, and you want to get that connection early on in the game because you need a scorer like Quesada to fire up here in the first set.
The same way, you also need a scorer like Brian Bagunas for Team Philippines. Let's look at that. The angle, you'd think he'd go for a cross court.
But you see the double block there, and he saw that as well. Brian Bagunas, the elevation he has, he sees the whole court going to that down the line was such a smart hit.
But still a point for Thailand there. Let's look at what happened. Single block. Nawari. Ooh. I think that was an error.
A violation there called on Retamar. He was a back row player, and that illegal hit from him went over the net, so that is going to be called by the referee as a point for Thailand.
Quesada again serving. Marcos setting it up for Bagunas. For second timeout, Thailand still leading by 3 points. The men's semifinals game between Team Thailand and Team Philippines, joined by me, Denise Densai, and my partner, Michelle Gumabao, as we hope for an upset win against Thailand.
It's a great start at that, and we're still being hopeful all throughout this set. Team Philippines always managing to come back each and every time they experience a setback in the games, especially in that game versus Indonesia. Denise, we didn't go down without the fight.
I think that was what's most important. You always see Team Philippines putting up quite a fight. Hindi susuko. Again, Brian Bagunas there. You're seeing strong net defense from both teams. And just look at the power of Brian Bagunas and the stronger power of that blocking by Malabunga.
Kim Malabunga is on fire here in the first set. Another block point for him, well timed. You see his hands, his arms going over the net, all over that hit.
And that was too strong a serve from Ranon Abdilia. I thought I was in. That was way too quick of a serve.
I didn't even see the ball. I just heard the whistle. That was a wild serve, being down 2 points a while ago and now 3. You want to get that ball across and create a run for your team.
Ooh, what a play by Josh Retamar.
19 years old, Denise. Josh Retamar, the future of Philippine volleyball. Great court IQ there, seeing nobody up for that block. Amazing play.
That power drop was just amazing by Josh Retamar as Brian Bagunas serves. Oh, from the back row, blocked. Again, another one that's outside and over-received, courtesy of Kantapat from Thailand. 3-point lead for Thailand. You can see the sideline, of course, their fellow teammates cheering for them. They are 5-peat. You know, they're seeking for that 5-peat here in the SEA Games.
Kumi Kantapat, number 16 of Thailand, now serving. But he is, Denise, one of the go-to players as well. He's the tallest player for Thailand and always managing double figures as well.
Kim Malabunga serving. It's a 2-point lead. Ooh, it's the service errors right now, Michelle, that are quite hurting Team Philippines right now. Our blocking is going well thanks to Ranon Abdilia and Kim Malabunga. You see, of course, the cross-court attacks of Espejo and Bagunas, but when it comes to our service errors, medyo dun tayo bumabawi.
And if you remember that game last time versus Indonesia, the second set, it was also our services that really changed the tempo of the game. So that is something by this game that they have to already watch out for and fix.
There is a challenge.
That's why now it's
a Philippines foot fault.
4-point lead by Thailand, but a challenge will be called, as you heard a while ago, by Team Philippines on your screens. Coaching staff.
It's great to have the power of technology, especially in games nowadays. You know, when I started playing volleyball, Denise, not that much already challenges, if I can remember. I started, sandali pa lang naman. Pero wala pang challenges noon. So whatever the referee called, that's gonna stick and that's gonna be a point. So no matter how you argue or how you want things to get replayed, you don't have the luxury of a replay such as we have now. So it's amazing what the future can hold, especially for sports.
That's true. It's not just the youth, like, you know, in the likes of Joshua Tamar, but also in technology, creating in the evolution, growth, and progress of the sport. And still waiting for the decision on that challenge. Coach Dante Alinsunurin you can hear the background music, just everyone just waiting for that call. Let's look at that now.
It does look, oh, it doesn't. It's not called a violation. Probably
Challenge was unsuccessful.
his foot did not entirely cross the line. And as long as there is a part of your foot on the line, it's still considered a good play and a good eye there by our coaching staff. I mean, from their angle, I'm sure you saw the
You would
foot
think,
going
yes.
over. But once again, the power of our replay says otherwise.
Ooh, soft touch there by Bagunas. Stronger hit. Again, great coverage, but couldn't make it across. And the scoring run continues for Thailand.
Not enough room there to go up against that strong defense from Brian Bagunas. This is what we want to see now, Denise, is another person to step up and try to stop the bleeding, because you all have, you know you have Brian Bagunas, you know you have Marcus.
And of course, in the hands of the playmaker, the 19-year-old rookie playmaker, Josh Retamar. Oh, that was way too easy for Quesada.
Once again, a reception error from Team Philippines, giving that regalo to Quesada. In men's volleyball, Denise, it's so hard to go up against the gift or chance balls because they're so tall, so athletic. When they jump high, it's just so much over the net. Sometimes you see them with their elbows extended across the net. I mean, how are you going to go up against that block?
That's why I think reception has been an issue that they're trying to fix right now, and we're hoping to see the fruits of their labor. But an error by Pak Di Kiao, Anuchit, finally stops the woes for Team Philippines, 17-22. But suddenly, tides are turned once again. Point for Thailand, 23-17.
Kunmi Kantapat from
Substitution
behind.
for the Philippines.
You see all the
Number
blockers
three,
of the
14
Philippines
is
jumping towards
Rosae.
Quesada and the frontliners, and it makes it open for the back row of Thailand. Something that they really have to look, because Charon Suk is really known for going for combination plays and tricking the blockers of their opponents.
And you can see a more aggressive Thailand than they were before. Look at that strong double blocking by Sang Si and Quesada.
There is no hope for that ball. You have to be at the perfect spot to get that ball high. And with so much power in a spike from Mark Espejo comes also a lot of power in that block.
And a service ace will end the set rather for Team Philippines, as Team Thailand will get that set 1.